Now we're going to learn about the domain and the range of function. So recording, last time we talked about the domain and the range. That would be, domain would be the x value. Right here, we go back to this one for the function. We have the domain that would be the first coordinates or the x value, and the range would be the second coordinate or the y value we have here. So we want to learn some basic function first. So these are just like alphabetical order, or alphabet letter, and we use this to make a word or sentence. So this is like basic block that you need to learn right here. So the first thing you learn that would be the constant function. F of x equals c. C could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 2021, or whatever number that would be. So in this case, an example right here, that would be f of x equal to 2. So no matter what value of x, the y value or that f of x here always equal to. So that's why you see that horizontal line right here. So domain is the x value. That means usually the horizontal way right here. So you see that value everywhere from left to the right. You can pick the number you have. That's therefore the domain will be negative infinity to infinity. And the range is the y-axis. In here, there's all the value equal to. So therefore the range for this graph would be just the number 2. In general, if f of x equals c, then the range just a number c. And then the second function would be called identity function, f of x equal x. It called identity because whatever that number is would be the same. They call identity. But this one also called linear function because the graph is in a line. And then later you can graph it like ax plus b. All that one would be a line. And you see here the graph, and how do they come up here? You pick a number, plug in the value, you have the graph this way. And the domain, you can go from negative infinity to infinity, and the range from negative infinity to infinity. The next one, you have the absolute value function. So you have the x with the bar right here, and the graph again. So you see they pick the point. So this absolute value function, very similar to the identity function or linear function. But remember, the absolute value make it positive become negative. So therefore, this part right here, the flip over. So that's why you have this one right here. Yeah. The absolute value function have very special character that have a sharp vertex right here. This is notice something you learn later. And the domain, again, any value of x you have, you find a value of y. So therefore, I go from negative infinity to infinity. The range, you see, however, nothing below 0. So only 0 and up. So therefore, the range will be negative infinity to infinity. Quadratic function is very similar to absolute value function. However, this one like sharp edge right here. This one you have like some sort of a U shape, right? This one they call the V shape, and this is U shape right here. And the value, the graph of function obtained by plug in value into this here. So 1 square equal 1, 2 square equal 2, and so on. Then you have here the graph. And as you see, the domain would be all the value of x, which here I have from negative infinity to infinity, or they call the real number. And then the range, you see, again, it's from 0 and up, nothing below right here. So when you square the number, you always have positive. Cubic function, it have this shape right here. And you see the value, these number, it by plugging these values, and you have the answer in there. And the domain, even though you see over here, it can look like from negative 2 to 2, but if you keep going this way, you pick a number this way, you will have it. Like, for example, I put 3, would be CU number 3 to the third would be 27. So it's going to be over here, then you couldn't see. That's why you don't have that. Same thing for negative numbers. So therefore, the domain, whenever you see the arrow right here, that means it go forever to the left, forever to the right. And the range, same thing. So go all the way from the bottom to up. The reciprocal function is this one look like this right here, 1 over x. Reciprocal because it's like this one right here. So like x over 1, you flip it over. So reciprocal right here, you have 1 over x. Now this function has something very special. If you plug in 0 here, you put in your calculator, it will say, they're not this, don't have such a value. Yeah. But if you put a number very close to 0, like let's say 0 0.1, 0.01 or 0.001. So you see the value become very big. That's why you have this thing right here. But your answer never becomes 0. So therefore, domain, you're going to have everything except 0. So this is how it's right here, from negative infinity to 0, but not including 0. This symbol right here, not including 0. And then from 0 to infinity, right? So you leave out the 0. So in later, when you have any reciprocal function, you have the letter in the denominator, you always set the denominator not equal 0, and then you solve for, so that you will have the domain of function. And then the next one you have, the last one would be the square root function. You see it right here. So the square root function, they have square root right here, and you plug in the number. You know that that's the graph only on the first quadrant only. So that means the x value from 0 to infinity, but you include in 0, because square root of 0 equals 0. So therefore, over here, I have the brackets. And same thing with the range. The range is from 0 to infinity. So, and then including 0. So that's what I have there. So make sure that you know the basic function you have in here so that you can do that part. Now jump to the equation over here when you find the domain. So as I mentioned before, so you have to find domain of this function right here. So this one looked like the one you have earlier, huh? So you have, this one would be 5 divided by x minus 9. So domain, so you always we ask here, do I have fraction? So if I have fraction, then the denominator cannot be 0. So you can have over here, so I can have over here will be x minus 9, and this one cannot equal 0. Cannot equal 0. So from here, I solve for x, right? So I can add 9 both sides. So I have x cannot equal 9. Right? So therefore, my answer over here, I have to choose this one here. I choose all the value except 9 that doesn't work. So I'm going to have this one right here. Okay. So this will be my answer right here. X not equal 9. So I got that one. Yeah. Okay. And another question you ask, because on the basic function, you have the 2k function right here, you have, this is special case right here. Yeah. So make sure I can be that everything else from here up, they all have like infinity to infinity. But the reciprocal, you have to be careful with the denominator. Make sure it's not equal 0. And then you have the square root right here. You have to take everything positive. Therefore, for this question right here, the next question, this one right here, okay? So we have square roots right here, right? So you have to make sure that this under square root have to be greater or equal to 0. So this is what you're gonna type in right here. So you're gonna have, for this one, the first, you have x plus 2. This one had to be greater or equal to 0, right? And then from here, so that you saw that you're gonna subtract 2 both sides. So you have x have to be greater or equal to -2. Yeah. Now this one have another thing here. You have, this one would be in the bottom. So you must have over here, you have x minus 1, right? This one cannot equal 0. So that means over here, I have x have to be cannot equal 1, right? Huh? So now these two together, so you're gonna put them in a line. So you're gonna do like this. So I have right here, so I have, so I'm gonna have a, I'm gonna have the line from here to here. Yes, a number line, my number line go forever, okay? So it can go forever to the left, forever to the right. Oh, this one is better here. So I have the number line. Let's see, let me clear this one first. Clear this. So I'm gonna have the number line right here. It go from all the way to the right, the left, my number line go like that, right? Okay. So, oh. Yeah, I have my number line like that. Okay. So I'm gonna choose the point. So this is my my point right here. So this one would be -2 right here, right? So this is -2 and -2 I have right here. And this one right here would be 1 right here. Yes, 1. Now I'm gonna shade whatever I have in here. So I'm gonna shade greater than -2. So -2 right here, greater than -2. That means I take everything here to the here this way. And this one including -2. Yeah. However, over here, -1 here, I don't take it. So I have to put a hole on it. So this one right here. So I have a hole right here. Yeah. So therefore, my answer, I would take everything from -2 to 1, and then 1 to infinity. So this is the one that you choose right here. -2 including, right? And then up to 1, 1 not including. And then from 1 to infinity. So that's how my answer would be. Okay. So again, for now, the 2 questions you asked, do I have fraction? Then make sure the denominator cannot be 0. And the second question you asked, do I have square root? Whatever under square root had to be greater than 0. So from that, you find the domain. So now you can try your work.